Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at the current edition of the North Coast Journal. I am your host, Tanya Shrum, and we are joined by North Coast Journal's managing editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome.
Hey, Tanya, how are things going in the early stages of 2026?
Well, I am trying to maintain a mental health and happiness, and I hope you are as well.
I am, and big week for that because this is Segue, the North Coast Journal's annual health and wellness issue.
I think the timing could not be more right for it because I think we're all gonna need some physical and mental health this year.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder to take care of yourself as things get crazier. And it's always a little crazy in January when we come off the holidays and we're just all catching up, right? But then also everything is on fire. So there's that. But I just want to say that when we do a health and wellness issue, something that is important to all of us at the Journal is that we are never going to do a health and wellness issue that is about, number one, starving yourself skinny. We don't do that. We are not going to do anything that is about how you need to buy stuff to be healthy and well. And we are absolutely not going to do this BS about how you are doing everything wrong. I have a personal beef with a lot of health and wellness coverage and just health and wellness as an industry. And because it is a money-making industry, sometimes it is just full of, I want to say snake oil, but I listened to this podcast about how snake oil actually was something that worked. Who knew?
I mean, they use cartilage from sharks for certain things. I mean, you never know
yeah.
what in nature is healing and
I
medicinal.
don't want to extract the oil from the snakes, but if it works, sure. But I just want to make sure that everybody is thinking about how, because we care about media literacy, how health and wellness are really being sold to us and what we're really talking about when all the January slew of diet ads come out, when all the change your life, do this 10 times a day. The peak for me was years ago when the listicle articles were everywhere about the things that you're doing wrong. There was an article about how you are showering wrong.
Now,
And I was
I'm
like,
not
girl.
saying that folks couldn't use some tips. Occasionally I do, I find out that some people aren't like cleaning their feet and their legs, and that's very disturbing.
Okay, there's that. But this whole idea that you are doing everything wrong is not the way we want to approach any of this.
No,
So
absolutely.
I want to start out by talking about a story by Louisa Rogers. You may know Louisa Rogers. Occasionally you'll see in their articles, she'll refer to her husband Barry, and Barry Evans of the Field Notes column will refer to his wife Louisa. That's them. They are a 2-for-1 package in some ways, and they write about very different things. But Louisa has been on a fitness journey. This is not a fitness journey about, just in case skinny jeans come back or something. This is a journey about staying mobile and staying healthy. And those of us who, granted, I think it's great that everybody is getting strong, especially women out there lifting weights and getting strong. Good for you, because I'm going to need someone to carry me. So, but Louisa made it her goal to make her bones stronger. She talks about how she had a journey of fitness where she loved it when she was younger. She's very active. She's a paddle boarder. She does all the stuff. She and Barry are always hiking all over the place. If you look at their Facebook, they're like, we're in Bulgaria now. I don't know. So they're coming up one side of a mountain, coming down the other. And then it turns out that she has something called osteopenia. She was diagnosed first with osteoporosis, and she was not happy with that. She worked on it, worked her way up to osteopenia, which sounds like, I don't know, the flamboyant divorcee cousin of perimenopause. I don't know. It's one of those things that's before you have osteoporosis, but it ain't great. So she had improved, but at this point she was like, you know what? My friends are having serious falls and breaking bones. I am not doing this. And so she not only worked on starting to do weight bearing exercise, adding that to her life so that she could become stronger and it improves your bone density. She also worked on her balance. And that is something that we don't think that much about, right? Everybody's like cardio or strength, cardio or strength, but balance is important for us to stay okay, right? You fall, you break bones, etc. Your body just has a hard time bouncing back the older you get. And let's not forget that even when you are in your 20s, falling down is embarrassing. So everybody's got camera phones now. You have to be ready. So she
Some of the
describes
most
her,
epic falls in my 20s, I just was hoping I got a laugh. Just saying.
yeah, right?
But
Where were the
now
camera
I
phones
do
then?
worry about things breaking off on me, so I try not to.
Yeah, getting back up takes a little more time. But she talks about a really low key workout that she got from a trainer. She did a couple sessions with a trainer, but she also talked about sources, online things, publications that have workouts that you can follow, and just started working a short 10-minute workout into her life, into her weeks, and working on her core strength, working on all those things, and not in a big, I'm changing my life, I'm transforming into a butterfly. And we're not doing that. It is just a matter of slow, incremental change to improve her bones and her balance. And it's great. And I'm impressed and inspired by this woman.
And that's really the point of these kind of regimens is to improve your health, not just so you can get those gutters that everybody likes to look at.
Well, my personal favorite part in this article, we were all laughing in the newsroom, was when she talked to her trainer and said, listen, I she has a functional fitness goal, and that is that when she goes camping, she would like to be more stable when she squats to pee. When you have to like pee in the woods as part of your camping experience, it did not occur to me that yes, your quads are very essential here. Your knee strength, your ankle strength. And her trainer laughed and was like, that is, what did he call it? Functional
Functional
fitness.
fitness.
Functional fitness. And anyway, she has a sense of humor and talks about the whole thing. And I recommend everybody take a look at it, especially if you are concerned about your bones, but really at any age. Small changes improve us.
Absolutely. And functional fitness should be your goal. Find what you need to do and as you age, it's going to be important to stay limber.
Yeah, by the time you, I don't know, kill yourself to develop whatever new body type the Kardashians are selling, it'll be over. They'll be on to the next thing. Really, you need to first, and I respect vanity, don't get me wrong, but I am very pleased that Louisa was willing to write about making her life better with increased fitness, and I appreciate that.
And not becoming osteopenic as you age as a woman is incredibly difficult to avoid. She and most folks do the best you can, and it is a really difficult thing to avoid after menopause. So I encourage everybody to read her article and take it to heart.
And not for nothing, osteopenic sounds worse.
But it is the precursor. It's true. It's true.
It's true.
And there are drugs that try to combat it, but it doesn't always work. So building bone strength is definitely what you should be working on for sure.
All right, fine, Tanya, I'll work out. Oh my God.
I'm just I'm just saying to all the ladies out there, eventually
Yeah.
you will be over 50 with the rest of us.
And I also want to point out so that was the first Get Out. There are two Get Out articles in this issue. The other one is from Simona Carini. And if you are struggling with a resolution, she is back again to talk about changing that into a wish for your health, for your movement, for your life in physical movement. And she's got some good stuff in there about motivation and goal setting and keeping things real simple.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, and so we're working from physical health over to mental health.
Oh, yeah, we are. So I could not have plucked out of the air a better piece for this moment. A new writer for the journal,
Right.
Sarah Blackstone Fredericks. Hey, Sarah Blackstone Fredericks, whom I met over at Cal Poly Humboldt in the journalism department, has written a story for us titled How to Meditate When the World is on Fire.
Very
Because it
topical.
is. Oh my God.
Very topical.
Yeah. And again, I have to say, everybody I talk to is dealing with the stress of the world on top of the stress of our daily lives, which is frankly enough on its own. So she's talking about meditation, a thing that, again, back onto sort of our theme for this. She points out that when you hear people saying, oh, start where you are, just take the first step, it still feels daunting. She's talking about what your real feelings are, and I really appreciate that. Because some people are like, oh, I just came back for an ashram and I'm just fantastic, and why can't you do this? And it is not like the influencers say it's going to be. Imagine me meditating. Yeah, it was not an instant success for me, but
I was
she
going to
talks
say,
about
Jennifer, I don't know how to turn off Jennifer's brain to.
it was not it was not great. But she says there is this idea, fueled by media depictions, that you'll suddenly arrive at the gates of enlightenment. Girl, no. And she talks about how everybody's trying to sell you this thing that, like, oh, all you need is this book. All you need is this audio guide. All you need is this $300 meditation pillow. And that your life is going to change, right? That you can buy your way out of whatever you're going through, etc. I get it. That is a thing that is very frustrating to see. And it's very frustrating because, yeah, we buy into it, because wouldn't it be great? Don't you kind of want to believe that you could just invest in an extra fancy yoga mat and you'll be okay? You'll be able to handle your many feelings. So she talks about how when she was moving back and forth, and she and her daughter, oh my God, collectively have moved 17 times.
That's stressful. That needs meditation and deep breathing right there. Yes.
Just imagining that. I need to focus on something else. But she talked about how a friend suggested that she make one space that's always the same no matter where they are. And genius. And this is kind of how she approaches starting meditation. Make yourself a little corner, or even just an assembly of little things, a stone you love, a candle, etc., and put them together someplace that can either remain and be your calm space, or into something that you can pack and unpack quickly if you have roommates, etc., children who are marauding. And you can take a minute, get used to sitting there calmly, etc., and just maybe put on music, maybe light a candle, maybe relax in the space. And then later, when you need it, after you've developed the habit of taking a few minutes to relax there, I think it's almost like a Pavlovian response, right? You go to your corner and you sit in the space that's all yours, and then where you maybe like can't see laundry or the TV, and just let yourself calm down and have a little bit of peace, a little bit of stillness. She doesn't really get into things like breathing or focusing on this, that, or the other thing. It is really just about establishing a little corner where you can start to just feel calm and not. Those of us who get wicked overstimulated, you need this corner now. You might need this corner, like, I don't know, in your office, at home, in your car, everywhere you go.
I think it's brilliant, and it's definitely the first step. If you're interested in that kind of mental health benefit, it's definitely a good first step.
Yeah, and she talks about how right now, with everything as intense as it is, are you going to go straight to enlightenment? No.
Are you going to
Are you
go
going to go?
straight to South America for the ayahuasca? Probably not.
I don't think that would be good for me.
No.
I don't think that we should let out anything that's not already out for me.
I'm just saying, if you're ever approached for a peyote sweat, I will go with you because I want to see some of that.
I would go to a hot pot sweat with you and just go and eat some hot pot and we can sweat there. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
Sounds good to me. Yes, that could be my happy space. Speaking of hot pots.
Yes.
Transition segue.
Transition, very nice.
I know. I thought you'd like it. Tanya, are you a soup girl?
I am always a soup girl, and it is soup season.
What did you think about the soup recipe that I sent you from Simona Carini?
I very much enjoyed it, and it is definitely something that I'd be interested in trying after I just did my big cabbage soup last week.
Listen, if those of you who were out here saying, I am going to eat more vegetables in 2026, and then you looked at the sad bag of salad and thought, no, not this, not today, and went and got some hot food, I get it. We've all been there. Simona's suggestion, because you know she is the queen of vegetables. Simona is on one shoulder telling you, eat your vegetables, girl, and you should. She has this awesome recipe that is actually really easy. You are roasting beets and squash, butternut, and butternut or honey nut. Both of those sound good. They have nut in them, and they just sound good.
I've never had honey nut squash, so that was new.
I don't think
me.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had plenty of butternut squash, but not honey nut. And beets. And you just basically roast it in the halves and roast it in foil and then puree it into soup and let it bubble and simmer and let the flavors meld. It freezes. You can basically just meal prep your way through vegetables and just be ready for weeks. I mean, if you have this in your freezer and then you have some of it like a couple times a week, you are not going to get bored in the way that I know that a big pot of cabbage soup can by day 5 be like, am I in a gublog? But
I like cabbage soup, but I'm a weirdo.
I do too.
Only because back in the 90s I did the cabbage soup diet, and so every once in a while I'll break out that big pot and make a big cabbage soup to just add to whatever all week.
Inventors of the cabbage soup diet, may you be roasting in hell like a foil-wrapped beet right now. But anyway, the recipe is great, and I just have to tell you like a little bit of background. So we're going back and forth with edits and whatnot, and I sent my edits to her a little bit late, and she had to get back to me just before we went to press. And she said, listen, can you change this part that says about a pound, a pound or so of roasted squash to 14 to 16 ounces. And I was like, Simona, come on, 14 to 16. But I have to tell you, every recipe I've made of hers, she's right. She's right. And if you don't go as exact as her, that's okay. She is not out here trying to make you measure pieces of carrots or, dial in your slicing to be completely uniform or anything like that. But she really does the research, and she really does these recipes over and over again until they're exactly how she likes them. Everything you make of Simona's, she has put in the work.
And I love this recipe because it reminds me that I learned just this past fall about roasting squashes when I made my first from scratch pumpkin pie in years. And roasting is the way to go.
It
So
is.
when I saw, oh yeah, all these squashes we can roast, oh, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like Simona is from Italy, and she does not play with flavor. You are never going to look at any of these. I know sometimes you look at a vegetable recipe and you're like, boring. If Simona is making a vegetable recipe, it will be bursting with flavor. She is not doing otherwise. She is not interested. She's a fascinating lady, and one of these days I'm going to bring her on here. She runs triathlons, she does all this stuff, but she loves good food. She's Italian. And I also think that she might be, I don't know, some sort of a demigoddess that's come to Earth because she really is, she really can do everything. And I just so appreciate her
And
contributions.
that's what we need right now, the old gods.
Right? Let's just do a sacrifice to Simona. It's fine.
Ah. So we have probably just a couple more minutes to maybe tease some of the other
Okay.
parts of the health and wellness.
Yes, I would like to just say that because I am a child, I immediately looked at the new food pyramid from realfood.gov and what our Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., famously an enjoyer of roadkill meats and occasionally heroin, has to say about your health, or rather, what the brainworms are whispering to you about what you should do for your health. And there is a new inverted food pyramid that is wackadoozles. It is wackadoozles on a number of levels. First of all, the food pyramid is hard to figure out. If you are cooking for a family, cooking for an institution, the food pyramid is not particularly helpful. The My Plate program that they had been running for 15 years that showed a plate divided with this much should be protein, this much should be vegetables, should be carbohydrates, etc. That was far easier for people to use across the board. And 15 years, but we decided we want to go back to a pyramid. So what I have is a 2026 food pyramid FAQ, and it is by the architect of the pyramid, who is also, because it's an incredibly literal administration, going to be buried inside of an actual pyramid painted in gold over by the White House, which feels like, I don't know, feels like it could happen. And I don't know if have you looked at the pyramid yet?
I did. I did. And I chuckled because,
Yeah.
boy, yeah.
Hope you like beef
Yeah.
and tallow. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that is like whole grains are like way down on the bottom. Like you just don't need any whole grains. Silly. I think there are, in the illustration, there are a loaf of bread, a bowl, and then 12 little oats. uh, Butters in the middle, cheeses at the top with steak and a whole roast turkey or chicken. And I assume that somewhere on there, due to how this administration is going, is the cocaine and everything else that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has so enjoyed. I'm sure polio's in there somewhere.
Well, we will get this week's edition of the North Coast Journal and check it out. And thank you for the FAQ. I know we're gonna need to figure out where we're gonna put all of this tallow in our diet.
Mm.
But that wraps up our time for this week. The current edition of the North Coast Journal will be available on newsstands tomorrow. Pick up your copy. or of course you can always find it online at northcoastjournal.com. Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks for being with us, everybody. I am Tanya Schrum. Thank you for staying informed and supportive and healthy here on the North Coast.